How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today we're going to do everything this Fast and Furious Lamborghini needs to get it ready for its first test drive. I bought a lot of parts, and they cost a lot of money. A lot of money. So if you guys are new to the channel, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoy it. This, of course, is my 2003 Lamborghini Murcielago that was screen used in The Fate of the Furious, and it is very, very close to its first test drive. I still have to do a few things. Okay, more than a few things. Okay, a lot of things, but we're gonna get it done in this episode, and I did buy some parts, and they are awesome, and they cost a ton of money. But I'm gonna show you something that's awesome and doesn't cost anything, and they're also today's sponsor. I'm talking about Raid Shadow Legends, and let me tell you, it looks really good. Raid Shadow Legends is a totally free, immersive smartphone experience. It has all the features you'd expect from a brand new RPG game, like an amazing storyline, giant boss fights, PvP battles, awesome 3D graphics, and hundreds of champions to collect and customize. Just take a look at these guys. They look spectacular. I never expected this kind of performance out of a mobile game. Raid is getting huge really quickly, so get in early. Starting now will give you a huge head start on the competition. There's also an upcoming special launch tournament with crazy prizes. So click the link in the video description to download Raid, and through my link, you'll get 50,000 silver and a free epic champion. That's 50,000 silver and a free epic champion in my link. Go check it out right now. So let's begin. We're gonna start from the driver's side and go to the passenger side and hit everything in between. And the first thing on the docket is what you guys have all been messaging me about, the fact that this car doesn't come with side mirrors. And the side mirrors are actually a little hard to come by, and when you do come by them, they are pricey. I actually got a set. Got a set of OEM side mirrors. So go ahead and pause the video and put in the comments how much you think they are. It's not really going to matter because I'm going to tell you in a second. This, the left side and the right side, which is off camera, cost me $2,000. That was including some other pieces. But believe it or not, that is a bargain because I saw these, the exact same ones, online for about $4,500, and the LP670 ones, those sell for around $11,000. That's right, 11 grand for some side mirrors. Now, I can't just get these made. I can't have them 3D printed. There's a lot of intricate parts in here. There's a lot of fragile parts in here. And yes, they do open and close with a switch, and we're gonna test that out a little later. But right now, it should be pretty easy. There's 3 bolts over here. I just take off this homemade cover, slap these on, and connect this wiring harness, and we should be good to go. All right, that looks really good. It was a little bit finicky. I needed to put some washers in there and then some seal oil just to make sure that rainwater didn't collect underneath here. But I mean, it transforms the car because it makes it that much wider and that much harder to get into parking spaces. But let's see if it all works. Oh, those doors, just the best. Okay, so the ignition to the on position, and let's see if the power folding function works as advertised. Oh yeah. Whew. All right, so that's one job done. I have to do the other side, but the other side comes with its own little issues, and you'll see when I get there. But right now, we're gonna pay some attention to this door, at least what's on the other side of it. So if you guys are avid viewers of this channel, you'll know what the issue with this door is. But if you don't, let me give you a little demonstration. Again, I put the car into the on position and I try to lower the window. You see, the window tries to lower, the motor works, but if I try to lower it, it doesn't do anything. If I try to put it back up, it goes back up, but it's just very clunky and there's a thud. And the reason for that is the regulator, this thing right here, actually this thing on either end, is broken. The way the movie studio fixed this, I'm guessing that this broke when they were in Iceland filming. They just put a block of wood and they wrapped it with, looks like masking tape, and then they put 2 Tech screws in here. And honestly, it's not too bad, but obviously I don't want to have wood holding up this, especially because I can't open the door. There's no door handle here that I can open. I have to have that ordered. So if I'm going to be driving this thing, I need a way to get out, which means that I can't have this window here. So I have to take out the regulator, I have to take out the window, and I definitely need to take out this wood. So let's I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is I no longer have a window situation anymore. The window is gone. And if I want to open up the door, all I have to do is reach to the other side of the car and open it up from the outside. Now, the regulator is, well, what I thought was the problem, and the regulator actually isn't the problem. I had to take apart the regulator and it's in a million pieces on my workbench. But the part that I actually need is this. On the glass, these guys, well, this guy, he's missing a friend. This is what goes onto the regulator and it clips on with this plastic clip. And this just wasn't there. There's supposed to be a second one right here and I can't find it anywhere, and that's what I'm gonna have to get to make my regulator work. But everything on the regulator, it's not broken, nothing's busted, and I should be able to put it back together with enough elbow grease. But this is what I'm missing, and I don't know how I'm gonna find it. It's probably not sold separately from the regulator, so I'm gonna have to do some research on that. But that's not gonna stop us from doing the test drive, so we have to go into the car where our next work begins. No test drive is really possible without putting in a seat, and I can't put in the seat because all this stuff, the electronics of the car, these are 2 ECUs, one for each bank, they are just kind of in here. They have to be bolted onto the firewall, and I actually don't know how this goes on. I wasn't the person that took this off, but this is something that I have to put back, and I have to put it back to stock because when I got the car, it had the roll cage in it, and this was just kind of thrown around. So I have to figure all this stuff out with the brackets that I found kind of strewn around, and maybe this will look factory when I get done with it, and I don't short anything out. All right, guys, now the interior is completely, well, clean. You can see that the wire management is managed, and this I need to get some glue on here, even though this is really sticky. Yeah, need to put some glue on there so it stays on. But the ECUs are in their place. I have the fuse block right here, have some other fuse blocks right here, some connectors, and there were some weird brackets that I had to put in, but everything fits in its place and nothing is shorting, and everything looks pretty good, and I can cover it up with a panel. You can see this wire. This is the aught 1 gauge wire that goes from the battery to the new sound system. But this whole thing, this interior, it's a weird shaped thing, meaning that like everything here is handmade, and everything here you can tell that there are tolerances on everything. It doesn't really fit together as well as it should. Also, that just fell off again. So I also took off the headliner, which was just glued in place. And for those of you wondering, that is just the roof metal. There's no interior structure or anything. So if I press down, you can see, yeah, this is super thin material. So the headliner is just glued in place, and I'll have that redone. But in the back right here, I ran into a little issue because this is where the back window goes. And I do have 2 of those, and I can put it in, and I have the adhesive to put everything in. But if you can see right here, that is a problem, and this is on both sides. That is when they put the roll cage in, they had to cut a little bit of metal out, and this is gonna prevent my window from sealing. So I'm gonna have to get some welding done right here, just a little half moon piece on either side. So it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but 1 major step forward is the fact that I got all this cinched down, and it looks spectacular, and it feels even more spectacular. Oh, that feels so good. And reverse, if you want to put it in reverse normally, it locks you out, but you have to press down and then go into reverse, and everything slots in fine, and it feels, it just feels so good. So what I'm gonna do now is, I'm not gonna pay attention to the interior, I have to pay attention to what's up there. And I mean this, the hood, or is that the trunk? Or the frunk. I don't know what this is called, but I have to replace this panel because I found out something about this car, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. When I first got this car, I got it with an extra hood and an extra sort of patch panel that goes right here. It looked like lights, but it was just a little piece of Lexan, and they painted it black, and they told me that it was for a movie shoot or a film shoot or something. But I was actually doing some research, and I found out what they were for. So let me tell you, it's a great feeling to find out that the Lamborghini you just bought with all the money in your bank account had a guy fall on it. Yay! But in all seriousness, if you take a look at that clip, you'll see that the hood was dented. The problem is the movie studio wanted the hood dented because that would add to the realism, because they had 2 shots of the guy falling on the hood. Problem is, this hood, it's carbon fiber. It's not aluminum, it's not metal, and as you guys might know, carbon fiber does not dent, it just cracks and it rips. So this might have actually been the hood that the guy fell on, and what happened was that the hood retained its structure, it was all fine, but he did cause some damage underneath, and one of the damages is right here, the fact that the hood does not close. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, and if you open this up, you can see more of it. I think he broke right here. He broke the mounting points, and they had to glue it back on. But that's okay because I have another hood. Now there is a more pressing issue, which is right here on the fender. The fenders are actually glued on. You can see that there's a little bit of separation. I don't think the fenders were made for bodies literally falling on them. So I'm gonna have to get some seam sealer. It doesn't seem like anything else is disconnected or anything. I just think that it was the impact that kind of brought it down. And I also have the missing panel that goes right here with the windshield wiper, but I think that's gonna go on after the paint job. But right now I gotta get this old beaten up hood off, and I can put the new one on, which actually has a lot more scratches and doesn't have this Lamborghini emblem, and this thing needs some work. Man, everything in this car is just fighting me, but I think we'll get her done, and she's gonna look really, really good.
Some 650 horsepower underneath the right foot of each of these drivers.
right, the new hood is on, and I believe this might have been the stock hood for the car, because if you look past the orange paint, you can see that it was once yellow, and this orange paint does not match that orange, so I'm not sure what the story was there. Also, when we drove across the country to get this car back, this was in the back of my truck, and it suffered some pretty good scratch damage, but that doesn't matter because it's not the right color and it's gonna get repainted anyway. But the fitment is what I'm most concerned about. See, right here on the other hood, that's where some repairs were and it wasn't really lining up all that well, and the same on the other side. But this seems like it's the OEM hood. It has the OEM stickers here, Lamborghini stuff, I guess that's brake fluid. And I also made sure that the latch here was aligned, so when I close it, just give it a little tap like that, and it's closed. So that closes, it's not gonna fly up on me. And the moment of truth here is when I open it up, it opens back up. And as you can see, it lines up pretty well. I think I might need to move it a little bit that way because the gap here is just a little bit smaller, so I'll just move these brackets to the side, but it'll open back up again, I believe. Okay, yeah, it opens back up, and there we go. So that's one step down, but the next step is this door. And I've been dreading doing this door because it's a lot harder than doing that door. Here's why. Now, the passenger door is a little bit different from the driver's door, mainly in that this is not the door to the car. This is not the original door. This is from a silver car. Don't know what they did with the original door. Maybe it's still in Iceland. Maybe it's on another car. Who knows? But when they put this door on, one, they didn't align it very well with the body. There are some weird panel gaps. But also, take a look at that. This is just a cut harness with all the wires, and the same goes for right here. There's just a cut harness and everything taped back. So I'm gonna have to splice in every single wire here, and I'm gonna hope that the wire colors are the same, because if they're not, I really don't know what to do. So what I'm gonna do now is, in order to get this out, I obviously can't splice it in that small of an area, so I have to take that wiring harness out, I have to run it through the door, and then over there in that area, that's where I'm gonna do all my splicing, and then we're gonna hopefully get all this stuff working, because the regulator, the window, all that stuff supposedly works. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't, so it would be awesome if everything on this door worked as it should from the factory. All right, now it's starting to look like a car again. It has some mirrors, it has a hood that closes, even though the hood doesn't really match up with the color, and all the doors close and stuff, except for, well, this horrendous panel gap right here, because, well, the door is not from this car. But that's all right, because I hopefully did all the wiring correctly. We're gonna do a test run of all the electronics in that door. So a little bit nervous because it was a lot of wires, and there were a few wires that had the same colors. So maybe I got them right, maybe I got them wrong, who knows, but we gotta test it out. It's so spacious in here. All right. No smoke coming from there. That seems to be okay. And it's registering that the passenger door, actually, no, that should be closed. So the passenger door, the switch isn't closed, so that means that there's some sort of wiring issue, but we'll figure that out later. I want to see if the window works. And I believe this is the window switch, so let's check it out. I think it's right here, and ooh, look at that. All right, so that is, there's something fouling on the bottom there, so I'll have to figure that out, but let's go back up. Okay. So now it works. Nothing's binding. It seems like it's working okay, other than that little thing on the bottom. But let's see if the my $2,000 mirrors work. Actually, let's bring this down. Sit in my little cocoon. All right, let's see if this works. Button is right here. Everything's taken apart. This is it's kind of cool, but it's also, well, there's a lot of really sharp things around here. So you got to press this button a little hard. It's a little weird. But let's do it. Shut up. And wait. Oh, there we go. That one's a little faster than this one. And let's see if they open up. Awesome. Awesome. All right, now I have mirrors. Now all I need is a seat. We can take it for a test drive. Actually, before I get out of the car, I wanted to show some people something they might not know. This right here, a lot of people ask what this is. This is actually an adjustable suspension. So you have like comfort settings, and it goes from most comfortable, kind of most soft ride quality to very, very stiff. And you can put it on auto, and you can put these settings up and down. But you can actually hear the motors going. Listen to this. You hear that? That's pretty cool. So if you put on auto, it just wants to go on 3, and I guess it does its thing. I have no idea how this rides or if the system actually works, but I think this is a pretty cool system nonetheless. And now, let's talk about the money. It's a little bit of a sore subject, but I think it bears repeating because this is not, it's not a cheap car to build. Now, this window, this side window right here, this little guy, that's what I need on the other side, as I mentioned earlier in the video. Now, a day has elapsed since I did this, and I did some research, and I found out that this is actually part of the window regulator mechanism, which means that this is not sold separately, which means that I need a new regulator, and those regulators used are $500. So I'm gonna have to buy one of those and install it, even though I have a taken apart regulator over there and it's perfectly fine. Now, if we come into the car, we realize that the car has no seats. Now the seats, I do have a driver's seat, but I also had to buy a passenger seat because oddly, the car did not come with a passenger seat. Now the driver's seat is over there somewhere. I will be putting it in for the test drive. And this is the racing seat that came with it, and this does not bolt in. I'll probably put that in when the car goes to paint, just so they can move it around. But the passenger seat, it's over here. Oh no, it fell over. Oh no. So this is a seat from a 2004 Murcielago. And this is in okay shape. It's not horrible. But I think it's from a burnt car. You can see that there's some burn marks right here. And underneath, there's also a little bit of singeing. And also the stitching is different from that seat, which was my original seat. But it doesn't matter because I'm having this all reupholstered. This cost $1,400, and this was a bargain because these seats usually go for between $3,000 and $5,000 each if you get something like the LP640 with the quilted pattern and all that sort of stuff. So these tend to be a little bit on the expensive side. So the hood is one thing that I was very fortunate in getting as part of the car purchase. This came with it, and well, it should because it's the stock hood. But this hood, if you got it used, probably in this condition, it would be between $1,500 and $2,000. But this, in perfect condition, if you didn't need to paint it or anything, that would probably set you back around $4,000. And if you got it new from the dealer, that's like $8,000 because it's carbon fiber, and they didn't make a lot of these cars. So this was a freebie, but it still is very, very expensive, and I'm glad I have it. Now, the last thing I spent money on, I might have mentioned in the past, but I got another bumper. And this bumper is a Premier 4509 front bumper, and it's supposed to mimic the look of the LP640. This one is not exactly a aftermarket bumper. This was made in-house by the production company that built the car. So this was a mold that they made from an original bumper, and yeah, this is just painted. It's not supposed to be like that. So I ordered a new one. So a new front bumper is about 12 grand, but it's 5 grand if you want a fiberglass version. The 12 grand is for the carbon fiber. And since nobody knows the difference, I got the fiberglass version, and that is on its way from Japan. That takes around 60 days round trip to ship to my house from Japan. It has to be custom made. They're all made to order. So I'm waiting on that, but this car is gonna go off to paint after I do my test drive. And in the next episode, I'm gonna be putting in a seat, some seat belts, or just a seat belt because I'm the only person that's gonna be driving it. And then we're gonna just take it down the street to see if everything runs as it should. It's not gonna be a power run. It's not gonna be anything where I do donuts or burnouts or anything like that, but it's just gonna test if everything in the car stays together, if the clutch is okay, if there's any weird driveline vibrations, that sort of thing. But I think this thing is gonna be really solid. Speaking of really solid, notice that this was just hanging off. I don't think that this is OEM. Maybe I can just, okay, that's, all right.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So that's gonna be it for today's episode. I hope you guys liked all the work that we did today, because I'm very excited and nervous and scared and happy for this thing to go on its first test drive. And then we're gonna get it out to paint because it's gonna look just amazing after they're done with it. So I'd like to thank Raid for sponsoring this video. Check them out in the link in the video description. And also all of you for checking this stuff out. I love doing this, and I love sharing this stuff with you guys. But until next time, this is me reminding you guys that on cars like this that now have mirrors and a hood and now have a window that goes up and down like a regular car, you guys need to wrench every day.